So today we're going to be showing you how to change the pulleys on an Everett Industries cutoff saw. Obviously, to do that requires removing the belts. And if you need instruction on that, you can go see our How to Change a Belt video, which will show you how to detension the motor, remove the belts, and get you to the beginning of this video where we are then removing the pulleys. So to remove the pulleys, you're going to take a ratchet and you're going to loosen all three of the mounting screws as such. You're going to take them out, and you're actually going to replace them into the secondary holes that are threaded on the bushing. You should feel them push up against the pulley and just kind of get that just hand tight for now. Then we're going to take an Allen key and we're going to loosen the set screw in the bushing. And then with our ratchet again, we're going to tighten all three of these a little bit at a time. You want to apply even pressure and work this bushing out of the pulley. And then the whole thing will come apart. Make sure you don't lose the key, because you're going to need that when you put it all back together. And so once you remove all this, you're going to want to take a rag here and just give this shaft kind of a dusting and a cleaning. Just make sure there's no foreign matter on there and that the keyway is free of debris and everything. And then you can just replace the key right back in the slot. You're going to want to line the unthreaded hole on the bushing with the threaded hole on the pulley, and you can kind of just press these together lightly for now, and then slide the whole assembly onto the shaft, making sure that you make sure to align the key with the key slot on the bushing. And once that's all on there, you can then take your screws and thread those in. Making sure that the screw is straight, lined up with the holes. And you can just work these on by hand. Just as so. And then we're going to take our torque wrench and start to tighten each of these, working around the circle so that you maintain straightness between these two, the pulley and the bushing. Once they start to get close to tight, you just keep working a little more pressure. And on all of our machines, the torque required for these is going to change based on the size. But these ones are 9 foot-pounds. And we will torque everything down to spec at the end when we can stop this from turning. Okay. Remove the front pulley. You're going to start with taking an Allen wrench and loosening the set screw on the bushing. And you're going to want to turn that out a few turns so that it's not interfering with the shaft. Then take your ratchet and loosen the 3 bolts on the front of the bushing. Remove them, and in the threaded hole on the front of the bushing, screw them back in as you go around. we're going to use these bolts as the puller that will separate the bushing from the pulley. So you're going to thread all these in until they just touch the front of the pulley so that they're all at an even plane. And take your ratchet again. And start to tighten them, and they will separate the two pieces. And then you should be able to just slide the two pieces off the shaft. And so once these are removed, you're going to want to kind of wipe down this shaft and make sure there's no debris. Check the key, wipe the key down, make sure everything in here is free of any dust or metal shavings. And you're going to kind of just do a visual inspection, make sure there's no scoring or anything on this. This shaft looks good, so we're not worried about it. And then I'm going to bring attention to this bushing here, which is an alignment feature. We're going to actually take that in the next shot. We're going to show you reinstalling the pulley and the bushing, and we're going to want to slide it against this surface, and that's going to locate the first part of our belt system here. When you have your new bushing and pulley, you're going to want to align the unthreaded hole on the bushing with the threaded hole on the pulley and start to thread the screws in one by one and just get them started. And then take that whole assembly and slide it onto the shaft, making sure you get the key inserted in the keyway. And then you're going to slide this all the way until it pushes against that bushing that's on the shaft. And then once we're there, we can give these a couple more turns. And then you're going to grab the Allen wrench and tighten this set screw. Like so. And then we're just going to start going around the circle again and tightening these. A little bit at a time. You don't want to get ahead of yourself. You just want to work a little bit at a time and just keep working your way around. You don't want to tighten too much either because the torque specs on these are pretty low. And we're just going to kind of get the bolt head just present against the hole and then leave it for now. So now we're going to position the rear pulley on the motor shaft. And to do this, we're going to need a straight edge resting in the channels where the belts go. And we're going to be looking at the relationship between this motor face and the straight edge. And so right now I have it in a very bad position. You can see that this angle is closing as we get towards the end of the straight edge. And so what we're going to want to do is get that surface, two surfaces, to be parallel with each other, which will be just about here. And now we can see that this plane and this plane are in line. And so once that's the case, we can make sure our key is underneath the set screw here and just tighten down that set screw to hold that position. so that we can go on to the next step, which will be pulling that pulley onto the bushing using the mounting bolts. It will be very easy for your eyes to naturally look at the surface of the belt guard here, but we don't want to do that because this is not, it's not a solid position, it's not a machine surface, and it's not a good datum to use for this process. You want to be using the face of this motor, and even you can eyeball it with the wheel if need be, but it just needs to make sure that this is going to be parallel to this motor face. So now when we go to tighten these, this is going to spin. So to stop that, you can take the 3 bolts you pulled out of the old bushing and thread them into these threaded holes. And then with your screwdriver, you can, pry these between them and then start tightening all these up. And you want to just work your way around. And slowly tighten all these. You're probably going to have to go around a couple times to make sure that this all pulls on straight, because you're compressing this bushing and pulling the pulley onto the taper of that bushing. You just want to go around until all of them are torqued to spec. And the specifications will be on the piece of paper that comes in the bushing box. For these ones, it's 108 inch-pounds. Yeah, and so you'll pull the screws out once you're done, and then you can use them on the front pulley. And on the front pulley, the same as the last, we're going to screw in our old screws into the threaded holes on the bushing. And we're going to use those to stop our rotation so we can now torque these to spec. And then remove your anti-rotation screws. And then your 2 pulleys are installed. And so that concludes our video on how to change the pulleys on an Everett cutoff saw. And as a reminder, you can get any of our parts, wheels, or saws for sale on our website. And if there are any other maintenance videos you need to see, you can also find those on our website or our YouTube channel. Thank you.